If you've been looking for ways to use fresh milled sourdough in everyday breakfasts, then this is the video for you because I'm going to share some of the recipes that I come back to when mornings start to feel a little stagnant. Most mornings are pretty simple for us. Usually we just do fresh milled flour, sourdough toast, eggs, fruit, and an additional protein on the side. But when I have a little more time, I do like to change it up and give us some variety. I think the simplest way that I do this outside of our normal breakfast is fresh milled flour sourdough pancakes. I do this by mixing up everything the night before except for the baking soda, baking powder, and salt I save to add in the next morning just before I make these on the stove. You can see the consistency here, what it looks like when I'm done mixing everything, but it will thicken overnight just because fresh milled flour does take longer to absorb all of the water in a recipe. So here I'm just adding the rising agents like I mentioned, and while I'm doing this, I'm actually heating up butter on the stove, and I'm just going to put them directly on my cast iron pan. I'm going to get some sausage going, and I'm going to add some eggs to this as well. Keeping it pretty simple and pretty close to what we normally do while still giving us a little something different. An easy way that you can dress up this pancake recipe too is by adding some fruit, or you could even do some chocolate chips. You can add this in the batter, or you can do it like I did here and just add it on top right before you flip it to the other side. A little drizzle of maple syrup and we are good to go. The next recipe that I'm going to do is fresh milled flour sourdough biscuits. This is one of my favorites for a couple of reasons. I can make this ahead of time and I can double the recipe, which is not what I did in this video, but I very often will double the recipe and then I will freeze the extras before I bake them, and so I will have them on hand to bake fresh whenever we are ready for them. And I also love these because there are several things that you can do with them. So when you start making biscuits, you're going to grate the butter or cut it up like I did, and then mix it into the flour until you have pea-sized crumbles. And then you're going to add the rest of the ingredients except for you're going to leave the rising agents out just like you did with the pancakes. Let this rise overnight, and in the morning you're going to add baking powder, baking soda, and salt. You're going to add half of it at a time, fold that in, and then you're going to add the other half and fold that in as well. Before you roll, cut them out and bake it. You definitely want to make sure you flour your work surface because this will stick to the countertop. And one thing to mention is just that fresh milled flour, in my experience, rolls out much easier than when you're using all-purpose or bread flour. And so you can accidentally roll them out too thin, as I did here a little bit with some of them. So just keep that in mind. You don't need too much pressure when you're doing this. Now the first way that I did these was just our typical breakfast, and I just did biscuits on the side where I would normally do toast. The second way, and my favorite way to do biscuits, is to make biscuits and gravy. So I have some turkey sausage right here. You can use whatever sausage you want. Ground it up and then add some flour to it. I use fresh milled flour. I do sift it because it's a little bit smoother of a texture in the end product, but you do not have to. I figure I have plenty of the bran and the germ in the rest of this meal, so I don't necessarily need it in the gravy, but you can do it either way and it works out beautifully both ways. These are so good, you need to try them. Moving right along to sourdough tortillas made with fresh milled flour. I actually made these for dinner one night this week, and then I just used them one morning for breakfast to make breakfast burritos. Now, I have found with fresh milled flour sourdough tortillas that actually a hard wheat creates a softer tortilla than when you're using soft wheat. So that was my personal experience. You can dress these up however you want. Mine were really simple this morning, but you could add whatever you want. They were so good. Now, the last thing I'm adding to this video is sourdough coffee cake. I know this is probably not traditionally just a breakfast food, but since it has coffee in the title and it's a really good recipe, I figured I would just include it. So just like the pancakes and biscuits, I'm going to add everything together so that it can get fermenting, but I am going to leave the rising agents out and leave that for the morning. Now, it was about this point that I realized this bowl was probably a little bit too small for what I needed, but I didn't want to dirty another bowl when I had already dirtied this one, so we just kept going with it. There's sugar, butter, eggs, vanilla extract, sourdough starter, of course, and flour that I'm mixing up all here. And I decided at the last minute to add some cinnamon, which I definitely think was the right move, and I'm gonna incorporate more next time I do this. I'm gonna let this sit overnight, then the next morning. This was really thick. I actually think I added just a bit too much flour in this recipe, but I've really been experimenting with trying to get the crumb coat on the top to not fall into the recipe. And so I added more flour, but I think I added just a little bit too much. I like to do this cinnamon sugar mixture in the middle instead of like the crumb topping in the middle as well, because I like just a ribbon of the cinnamon going through a coffee cake. And then I put this delicious crumb topping on the top, and oh my gosh, it really turned out so great. The extra flour did keep the crumb topping in place, which is what I wanted, and it still did taste really good. So these are just a few of the breakfasts that we rotate through using fresh milled sourdough. They're all options that help keep mornings from feeling repetitive without being overly complicated. And if you enjoyed this, I do have a similar video with dinner ideas using fresh milled flour, and I'll go ahead and link that below. But be sure to like and subscribe as well, and thank you so much for watching. I hope to have you back here again.